Hello, hello. So this is going to be kind of a quick rundown on the German format team tournament that I just went to, and kind of what to expect, and my takeaways from a strategy perspective of pairings. So more or less how the German format works compared to the WTC format. The German format is a simultaneous pairing process, whereas the WTC format is an alternating turns format. So in WCC, you put someone down, then they choose two people against them, and then you choose which one of those two, and then there's someone left on the table, and then they put someone two down, and then you choose someone against them, and then someone's left on the table, and it goes like that. It's alternating back and forth. In the German format, what happens is you each choose a person who usually gets called the sacrifice, and you put them down on a different table that will be the table they play on, and you do that simultaneously. Each team does that. Um, and then they flip them up simultaneously. And I don't know what happens if you both want the same table. I honestly do not know what happens. It never came up. But yeah, you flip them up, and then you have two people left on each team. The person that you flipped up, or that was flipped up, the other team gets to choose of their two players which one will go against that one guy, and then who's ever left and each team does this at the exact same time. They choose of their two players that are left who to play the opposing player's person that was put down on the table. And what will happen is there will be a leftover. Each team will have a leftover person, and they will just be paired against each other. And why I like this format so much better is there's no first and second team. And there's a little bit of mind play and there's strategy to it, and it doesn't feel like you're getting it's all on a dice roll. I really like it. I really like it for three mans. I don't know if it's a good idea for five mans, but it feels actually it's probably a horrible idea for five mans. Whoever the first person you put down, choosing four people to play them. Oh my goodness, that could be so bad in a team turn. That's so rough for that one person. It probably a very unfun play experience. Because how it works right now is you can take your person that will play against that best person or that person that's put down, which is usually a generalist. But that might make it so that you're getting screwed by who's ever your guy that's left out that's going to go into the middle of the table. Because while I was picking which one of my two was going to play that person that was down, I could look over there and I could usually figure out which person was going to end up playing against my guy and who would be left over in the middle. And with that, I can kind of, if both team captains are kind of thinking that way, you can get somewhat fairish and less one-sided matchups. And it kind of felt that way all through the team tournament. On my team, we have me playing Ron and Vyros 2. We have a Khador player playing Vlad 2 Armored Corp and Vlad 1 Rocket Spam. And then we have a Crix player playing Slayer Spam and Scar 1 with, we copied Adam Stewart's list because we just love the heck out of it, of double Cav, Bane Riders, and like 4 Stalkers and Wraith Engine. It's a surprisingly scary list because every one of those models I just mentioned is getting feeded on. It's like the exact number of things that Scar 1 can feed on. And she brings exactly the number of models that she can. It's freaking scary. It's really good too because it has everything that Scar 1 doesn't have, which, let's be honest, there's only one thing Scar 1 does not naturally provide for a freaking army, and that's threat range. And Stalkers and Bane Riders have threat range. They can also mulch a lot of infantry and be pretty survivable, so it's a really good list. Against us, we had a lot of weird lists. We didn't know what the heck to think of them. There were a lot of off meta lists. It really made our pairing process difficult. We had never done the German pairing format first. My Khador player, he's pretty robust. Like he's playing Armored Core and freaking Vlad Rockets. He's my sacrifice. So whatever, dude. You're out there. And also, the Crix player is kind of scary, and I'm kind of scary. So it kind of fits with our whole theme of things. Because our Khador player kind of asks a weird set of questions. Opposing us was a Morvana 2 and Kruger 1 list, which we've just kind of, what the hell do we do with that? Then there was a Ragnar list with, I believe, Beasts and a Madrak 1 Champions list that was somewhat standard. And then there was a Scorn player playing Mordekar with, the Despoiler and the Void Spirit that just mulches all infantry that exists, and then Zaltu with a whole bunch of Immortals. They chose of their they put their we put our Khador player down. They put down their Circle player. So I don't know why. I knew that I didn't want to play Trolls. I didn't want to mess around with Madrak 1 because it's all theory with Vyros 2 a little bit. I've played a game against it, but I still don't feel crazy about it. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to take the lesser of the evils. I've got a Crix player who would love to see some Scorn and love to see some Trolls. So I jump on the Morvana 2 Kruger 1 matchup, who I thought was Kruger 2, because, I don't know the difference between their names, and who would play Kruger 1 is how I looked at it. But I'm an idiot, so it works out. We ended up with Trolls into Crix and Scorn Exalted into Armored Core. And we ended up with Scar 1, that list that I think is pretty spooky and cool, into Madrak 1, and my Ron list into Morvana 2. I covered this. I should have chosen Vyros 2 from the beginning. My opponent said he was a lot more worried about Vyros 2, and he was probably right. Because if he had dropped Kruger 1, there's actually pretty good tools against Ron, and I just didn't know that. I thought it was Kruger 2, and I was just going to assassinate the crap out of him before he assassinated me. You can't Gallows and TK a Helios. Enjoy that, sucker, is what I was thinking in my head. Whoa, what's this? No, I don't want to take a break. Break time ended. I've never seen my phone do that. Okay. We know how the Morvana 2 game went. On the table next to me, Stalkers jumped on Madrak and killed Madrak, so that game ended pretty quickly because no tough and blessed, and then his back arc is really bad for Madrak, and they're feeded on and they're boosted to hit. And there's 2 of them, so yeah, that's kind of how that goes. And then on the other side of the board, Armored Core and Exalted were just grinding it out and grinding it out and grinding it out. And the Scorn player knew that both of his teammates had won, and he's like, I'm just going to keep going with this. He got a little bit of advantage against our Armored Core player. And then the dice just started falling really bad. And against Armored Core, you do need your dice to be somewhat average, usually, to just get through that many boxes and dudes reliably, and they just didn't. And then Armored Core won, and so yay, we advanced on to the next round, 3-0. So that was pretty cool. We felt good about ourselves. It was fun, good opponents, and yeah, moving on. We have JC's team, who I talked about in previous video. JC wants me, so let's get right into this. I put down Armored Core right off the bat because I still haven't figured out this German pairing thing yet. And my Khador player is a sucker for abuse, and I love him, so it seems to work out just fine. So yeah, he's down, and they put down. Who do they put down? They put down, gosh dang it. Oh, they were running double Scorn. So their pairings were, they had a Makita 2 with, I can't remember, it was a Turtles list. And then it was Makita 2 Cats. And then JC was running Makita 1 with Praetorian, and his other list was it was something I liked better that was easier for me to beat. I can't remember what his other list was. Yeah, and then there was a Menoth player that had a Krios 1 list with a Judicator, and his other list was Testament with all the errants. So they chose their Menoth player to go into our Khador player, and we chose our Crix player to go into the Makita 2 Cats player. And that left just me and JC, which we were like, hey, and it was great. Know how my game went. Got a hollow victory where I just kind of won on scenario at the very end of the game, even though he did more attrition work than me and I made several mistakes. And our Khador player, somehow, for some reason, it ended up being rocket spam into the Krios 1 list, which doesn't make any sense to me because that would have been a nightmare into Armored Core. I can't believe he dropped the Krios 1 list. And the rocket spam should have just absolutely destroyed the Testament list, which should have destroyed Armored Core. So we got in our heads a little bit too much thinking about that one. And now we've got Adjudicator against all his rockets, and it can't be targeted by non-magic attacks. And we intentionally didn't bring magic attacks because, that's what I was for. I was supposed to jump on the magic grenade of killing, cricks and stuff that need magic attacks. This was not something we prepared for. But for whatever reason, that Adjudicator did not get the no magic guns, and all the rockets shot it off the board. He also did a clever thing where he feeded really early on and ran his jacks into the Adjudicator and said, you will not advance forward until you have killed these really tough clamshell jacks, and we're going to lock you here while we try and figure something out by shooting the rest of your army or shoot down all your choir or something like that. He had a plan. But the Adjudicator got the spell for damage, and it beat up the jacks, and then it got shot to death. And so our Khador player won. I won. And TJ played our Crix player played a Scar 1 with the Bane Riders into Meowcada with the Cats. And it was a fantastic game. Grievous Wounds from the Stalkers played a huge role. Really worked for it back and forth, and our Crix player won. Pretty freaking sweet. Oh, I should be doing things with the screen this whole time. Jeez. So bad. So round 3, we get a lunch break. We know we're probably playing Aaron's team. He's kind of, he's a pretty, not a big deal, but he's one of the scarier players around on the West Coast right now, up here in the Oregon, Washington area. He did pretty well at the WTC, and he's just kind of just rolling around a lot of tournaments, doing well at tournaments. So it was Aaron's team. They had a Scorn player that, let's be honest, he was going to play as the Dash 2 Turtles. He wasn't going to play Morgul 2. I doubt he dropped it this tournament. Maybe he did. I don't know. But we had him telegraphed. We know he's dropping it. They had their Crucible Guard player with Baldwin and Silvestro. And then there was Aaron playing Convergence with his old Axis double tap list. And then the Lucant medium-based spam that recurs. So at lunch, we didn't know he had the medium-based spam that recurs. Our plan was we can't drop Mitchell first because Teps will just blow Mitchell's crap off the board, and Mitchell hasn't, or our Khador player hasn't played enough games to know how to deal with Teps. Like, he hasn't figured out those threat ranges and distances and baiting and spacing and all the things that goes into playing stupid Teps with Axis, and how Axis's feat is so freaking devastating, and bulldoze and razor walls. And yeah, we just wanted to spare him that giant headache. So the plan was put me down first. Hopefully Aaron jumps on me and I get to play Aaron. If Aaron doesn't jump on me and the other player down is Aaron, then we put TJ into Aaron. If the other player down is not Aaron, then we put Mitchell into the other player so that TJ ends up on Aaron. This way, no matter what, we're not putting Mitchell, our Khador player, into Aaron. So that's the plan. The rest of it's just going to sort of work out. We think we can make games happen no matter what with the rest of the lists. Crucible Guard would be bad for us going into Crix. We think Baldwin would just obliterate things. Although maybe not into the Slayer spam. It's still up in the air at this point. It wasn't the full-on infantry Baldwin list with the Vulcan, which I think can crack Slayer spam. It had a lot of other weird options to it, which it actually is probably a well-rounded and more pivoty list than the skew that one of my friends is running right now. So I went down on the table first on a table that had an amazing forest. As you saw, I chose that table. I loved that table. And then Aaron went down on a table across from us. So almost instantly, TJ, you're on Aaron. Yeah, you go, girl. And then they ended up putting their Crucible Guard player into me. So team captain versus team captain. And they had Scorn playing Arcador player. So it ended up being Zadesh 2 versus Armored Core. Versus Winder Guard. Because I told him, yeah, I think you'll just shoot those turtles right off the table. I forget that Zadesh 2 has Inviolable Resolve and he's running Krios. My local Scorn player doesn't run Krios. He thinks they're bad. Rockets did not shoot down those turtles. That game did not go how I planned. And our Armored Core versus Turtles game, we lost. I won the Crucible Guard game as planned. We were 1-1. And over on the other side, our Crix player was playing Slayer Spam against Convergence, who was playing the medium-based recursion list with LeConte. And they were just going at it. It was a freaking grind fest, and they were beating on each other, and it was exciting. And we're the pair down, so if we win this, everyone has to stay for another round. So people are coming over and anxiously asking, like, who do you think is gonna win? And we know that we're the bad guys. They're rooting against us because we get to go home at a decent hour if we lose. And of course, Aaron's the good guy because that's, he's a great good guy sometimes, sort of. Sometimes. I love you, Aaron. But yeah. So it turns out the game ends 1 CP to 0 on that stupid scenario invasion where it can be sometimes challenging to score. And that's because Aaron scored 1 control point and ended at turn 7 that way. They both played fantastic games. They were both at about 2 minutes on clock. It was grindy. It was awesome. No regrets. Great. That was a great tournament. That was the end of our run. I don't know what place we finished up in, but it was just a blast. 3-man tournaments are freaking awesome. Absolutely loved it. German format's awesome. Let me know if you have better ways of doing the pairing process, because that was mostly all kind of bullcrapped on the spot and figured out afterwards. I'm not sold, and I think there's a lot more potential. Let me know what you guys think.